We got a bidet!
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we got the next episode of Bad Batch that came out this week. I believe it is episode 12. I think it was called The Outpost. Um, we got actually a really good episode. I did enjoy this one quite a bit. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna tell you what happened, and then tell you our thoughts, and then it's up to you whether you decide to watch it on Disney Plus. So this week we had the focus on Crosshair. We actually did not really see anything from the other Bad Batch members. So Crosshair is being assigned to basically go investigate what's going on at one of the Imperial outposts because some of their special equipment has been stolen. Like raids are happening and then at this outpost and people are stealing stuff. We don't really know what the stuff is, just that it's of high importance to the Empire at this point. And so Crosshair is sent out to this outpost, and what we kind of find out is that there are a couple of clone troopers that have been assigned to watch over the outpost for the most part. But then, because the things have been stolen, the Empire is getting involved with stormtroopers. And so we have, I think there's like 3 clone troopers that are actually at the outpost. And then we have, I don't know, maybe a squad of stormtroopers plus the commander, which is behind Sarah there at this outpost. This commander is very snippy, very rude. Doesn't really care about the clones. All he cares about is his own success, really. And so he's really rude to the clones, trying to figure out, why are things happening? Why are things being stolen? It's giving the Empire more of a reason to not want the clones because we know they're trying to push them out, so to speak, at this point. And really the problem is that there's only 3 clones to defend an entire outpost. And so it's possibly common, I don't know, with just 3 clones to have a lot of this stuff stolen at the outpost. You got so much stuff and only so many people to guard it.
Well, the guy that's in charge that was there before this new commander showed up said that he's been asking for reinforcements and for updated equipment, but his requests keep going unanswered. So he knows there's an issue, he knows he needs more men, and he knows he needs better equipment, but they're just not giving it to him.
Yeah, and then they wonder why things aren't going the way that they want them to go. In the mix of all this, another raid happens where they get attacked and they go off to defend, their assets that are on the outpost, and some more stuff gets stolen. But the big piece here is that 2 of the 3 clones get killed. So I think Mayday, which is the clone commander, he's the only one that is left of the clones on the base. And the commander that's there from the Empire is furious that this happens again. So he assigns Mayday and Crosshair to go investigate where the stuff is going. Where are the people that have been stealing their stuff? So they take off and they eventually find the area. But a couple things here that happen that are really, really bad. This is a snowy planet, and there's tons of snow, and they have to survive an avalanche that occurs. So an avalanche happens, which wipes out a lot of the opposing people, like the raiding people, and everybody gets buried in snow. And what we find out here is that when Crosshair is kind of digging through the snow, and he sees the package, the stuff that's been stolen from them, he can see that the stuff that was inside was actually stormtrooper armor. So the stuff that the clones were guarding was exactly what they were asking for, but the Empire didn't want to give it to them because they're trying to weed out the clones. So we see kind of like that shisty thing going on here. So then Crosshair and Mayday have to trek back to the outpost, which, as you can imagine, is very, very hard to do in like blizzardy conditions and after just surviving an avalanche. I believe Mayday is even hurt from the avalanche. They do eventually make it back to the base. They can kind of see, which way to go because they're seeing TIE fighters go over their heads back towards the outpost. That's kind of like their directional way that they're supposed to go to get back to the base. And once they get back to the base, the officer of the Empire is still just not happy because Crosshair and Mayday did not come back with the packages. And Crosshair's like, this guy needs some help. He needs some medical attention, like now. And the officer does not care whatsoever. He just cares about that the mission was a failure. And so basically it just goes and goes and goes until eventually Mayday dies right in front of them. And this is kind of what triggers in Crosshair's mind because we know earlier in this season he's been kind of thinking about, maybe these guys really aren't what I think they are, so to speak, for lack of better words. He's having a change of heart towards the Empire. And because he was, pleading to have Mayday get some help and he died, and then this Imperial officer just ignores it all, Crosshair does something that probably we weren't all expecting, and he shoots the officer and kills him. Basically doesn't care because he feels like the Empire doesn't care about him. Maybe to a point he feels alone and like eventually the Empire is going to take him out anyways. So I think with kind of that mindset, he just kind of had a I don't care attitude and did what he wanted to and killed the Imperial officer. That's about it from the episode. Was there anything that you thought was super important that I missed?
There's one more scene after that, which is that Crosshair is back at
Oh, that's right.
the.
I
Do you
forgot.
want to keep going, or you
Yeah,
got it?
I can keep going. We see Crosshair with one of the medical people, I think is on Tantus, I think was the name of the place that we were at in the previous episode, the big mountain. They transported him there, and we don't really know what's going to happen with him, but we do know that he is there, and we'll talk a little bit more about that once we talk about our thoughts for the episode, because they don't give any implications what's going to happen, but we have some thoughts for sure.
I believe she said something about if you'll survive. So we know he currently wasn't hurt, but she shot him with something, I'm assuming to knock him out or make him fall asleep, and left us with the quote of something, something, if you'll survive. So it's a little ambiguous on what that means. And with him not currently being hurt, that means somebody's going to hurt him.
Yeah, we don't know their intentions yet, just that there's something going on. So what did you think of the episode?
I liked it. I like the way that this season's been going from the viewpoint of we've got the main Bad Batch group that we follow, and then every once in a while we get one of these Crosshair episodes. And I like that they dedicate a whole episode to it, so it's not just kind of going back and forth between the rest of the Bad Batch group and this. I feel like it gives us an opportunity to better flesh out Crosshair's story and what's going on with him. We know a lot of the episodes with the Bad Batch are kind of filler episodes, if you will, or really just kind of like little side quests that don't add a whole lot to the main storyline. Whereas with Crosshair, it's really kind of just here's his main storyline. I
In comparison between Crosshair and the rest of them, I think Crosshair's episodes are bangers, and the rest of them are kind of
well, his seemed to be a lot more
real.
high intensity, like high stress, high stakes. That's what I was trying to go for.
Because he's involved with a system where he is really up there as far as anybody else that could be signing up for the Empire. I don't think there's any troopers that would outdo him as far as like marksmanship and whatnot. So he feels like a head honcho amongst his peers, but the system doesn't believe he is, and he's having that conflict of, I know I'm better, I know I deserve more respect, but they're not giving it to me, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Whereas the Bad
And
Batch, it's kind of like, oh, Sid sent us here. Oh dear.
oh no, no. I think his episodes are a lot more interesting. There seems to be a lot more high stakes, high pressure, and a lot more mentally what's going on. With the rest of the Bad Batch group, we don't really see a whole lot of mental character development except with Omega and sometimes Tech or the other guys, but they're so minor. I say more with Tech because Tech doesn't really do emotions, and he's kind of learning that right now. Um, but with Crosshair, we're learning he's gone from good soldiers follow orders to this episode. Mayday was kind of making fun of that with him, just from the standpoint of like, we were good soldiers, we did follow orders, and we're not reaping the benefits of, being a good soldier. Like, what was the point of this? We're just getting um mistreated, if you will. Um, yeah. Oh, I thought it was neat to see the new stormtroopers and kind of what those are looking like right now.
Yeah, I think they're um kind of more along the lines of the Rebels show personally. Like they're not what we expect to see in like A New Hope, so to speak. There's designs that evolve along the way. The design that they're wearing right now in your picture, maybe that's some sort of like in development snow armor, so to speak. Just because they have a very different look to them than anything else, but um, definitely takes a couple iterations before we get to what we know stormtroopers to look like. I thought the episode was pretty good this week. It was, in my opinion, more interesting than what we have been getting. I feel like they knew what they wanted to do with Crosshair, and they've been doing it very well. I feel like they had an idea of what they wanted to do with the Bad Batch, and that idea probably could have been done in, I don't know, 6 or 8 episodes, but then they had to stretch it because they wanted to have 16 episodes. So I think that's kind of the main difference between Crosshair and the rest of the group, is that Crosshair gets little attention but high quality, whereas the other group, we get a lot of attention and mid to low quality, in my opinion. They're fun, but they don't really add anything for me. One of my big pet peeves that I have as far as like stuff I watch, stuff I read about Star Wars and whatnot, if it's not adding something to Star Wars, in my opinion, then I feel like it's kind of a waste of my time, for lack of better words. And so, like, if I read a book and it's not there and nothing seems to be new, I find that I waste my time. And I feel like that same way with a lot of the Bad Batch episodes with um, our other group here, Hunter and all of them, just because there's a lot of stuff that they do that really don't add to anything. But I think what's happening is that the whole Bad Batch sequence throughout this season is that they're trying to just build tension with Sid to lead up to something at the very end, which I guess that's great, but it also takes a long time just to, hopefully the payoff is good. Because if the payoff isn't good, then it's going to be really bad. But as far as this episode, really good episode with Crosshair. Really cool to see how all these other clones that which were his peers are having this sort of influence on him, like Mayday did, as far as this isn't right, giving him a different perspective on the world. And what also was interesting to me is that we're Team Empire, but I really didn't like this general. I felt like the general was just
A
off.
jerk.
Yeah, he was a jerk. So, um, it's interesting to see some of these shows because I feel like between the Bad Batch and Andor and I feel like there's something else too, but between a lot of these Disney Plus shows, we're starting to see, what was the nitty gritty of the Empire, and there are sides where, it makes me feel inside, oh, I support Team Empire, but I don't support that kind of a thing. With this dude there, I point the right way this time. This dude behind Sarah, not my favorite guy, so to speak. But yeah, overall, good episode. Looking forward to where we end up. This was episode 12, so we have 13, 14, 15, 16. We got 4 left. So, and I was holding 4 fingers up. I only had these up on the screen. We have 4 episodes left to go. I know the last 2 are going to be a 2-parter because they're going to be released at the same time. So I wonder what we're going to have in these next 2 that may be leading up to that big finale, so to speak. But we look forward to it. Anything else you want to say about the Bad Batch this week?
Just that I'm curious what's gonna happen with Crosshair. I know you and I talked before about wondering if they're trying to use him to clone his marksmanship or something, but I feel like that really can't. Even if that's what their intentions are, I don't think I see it panning out because, as we all know, stormtroopers have horrible aim. So, whether that's what they're trying to do or not, I don't think they're going to be successful.
What I could see them doing with this, because we actually didn't talk about, what we thought they were doing with Crosshair at the end, and you were kind of hinting at what our thoughts were, wondering if they're going to clone him. I don't think he would be a stormtrooper clone. Like, I don't think they would use his DNA to do that. I think they would use his DNA to clone scout troopers and like commanding scout troopers because they're known for sniping. So I think that's the route they would go. But then again, I don't think I've seen any like superior scout troopers in Star Wars. So I don't know how they would handle that quite. I don't know. That would be my thoughts. If they're going to clone him, they're probably going to clone him to try to make better marksmen, which would have to be some sort of elite troopers, not just the basic troopers.
We'll see where
And
next takes us.
yeah, and I also kind of wonder, like, with her saying we don't like if you survive this, something tells me like he might wake up from it and realize that something bad is going to happen to him no matter what. And something tells me he might sacrifice himself for the greater good of the rest of the batch near the end. That's my guess. But all right, so that's our talk about the Bad Batch this week. Again, that was episode 12, so we got 4 more to go. And if you enjoy this type of video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way you are notified when more of our discussions drop. We also got Mando going on right now, so check out our videos on Mando where we discuss what happened week to week with him. And then drop us a like if you like the video and drop us a comment letting us know what you think is going to happen in the future of Bad Batch and what your thoughts were for this episode. And then, as always, everybody, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.